free. Welcome to LawCrest USA, where we uncover the real truth behind the law and your rights in America. Have you ever wondered what really happens if you refuse to talk to the police in the United States? Can staying silent get you into trouble, or can it actually protect you? Let's break down the real story, because what most people believe about police questioning is completely wrong. First, the first thing you need to know is this. In the United States, you have the constitutional right to remain silent, protected under the Fifth Amendment. This means you are not legally required to answer any questions from police officers if you choose not to. Whether you're pulled over during a traffic stop, questioned as a witness, or even being suspected of a crime, you have the right to say nothing. Here's where things get complicated. While the law protects your silence, the way you use that right can make a huge difference in how your situation unfolds. Many people get into trouble not because they committed a crime, but because they talked too much to the wrong person at the wrong time. Police are trained interrogators. Their job is to collect evidence and statements, not to protect you. Anything you say, even a simple "I didn't do it," can be twisted, misinterpreted, or used against you later in court. That's why you'll often hear lawyers say, "Don't talk to police without a lawyer present." It's not just a slogan, it's survival advice. Now, refusing to talk doesn't mean being rude or aggressive. It means calmly exercising your legal rights. If a police officer approaches you and starts asking questions, the safest thing to say is, "I'm exercising my right to remain silent, and I would like to speak to an attorney." This statement is clear, respectful, and legally powerful. Once you say it, you should stop talking immediately. No explanations, no excuses, no details. Remember, silence cannot be used as evidence of guilt. The Supreme Court has repeatedly ruled that people have the right not to incriminate themselves, and police cannot punish or arrest you just for refusing to talk. However, there are some important exceptions you must understand. If you are driving, you must still provide your driver's license, registration, and proof of insurance when requested. Refusing to identify yourself in such cases can lead to legal trouble. Similarly, in certain states with stop and identify laws, you may be required to give your name if the police have reasonable suspicion that you re-involved in a crime. But beyond these basic identification rules, you don't have to answer questions like, "Where are you going?" or "Why are you here?" or "Did you do it?" Many people panic during police encounters because they think silence makes them look guilty. But here's the truth. Being silent is often the smartest move you can make. Talking to police without legal guidance can accidentally lock you into a statement that's hard to change later, even if you realize you misspoke. Investigators are trained to notice inconsistencies, tone, hesitation, and even nervous body language. Every single word you say can become a piece of a puzzle they re-trying to solve, and you don't know what picture they rebuilding. Refusing to talk, you give yourself time, clarity, and legal protection. On the other hand, if you lie to the police, that's a serious federal crime under Title 18. Section 1001 of the U.S. Code. So, if you're ever unsure, silence is always safer than lying. Let's talk about the process. When police question someone, they often use psychological tactics, sometimes friendly conversation, sometimes pressure or fear. V might say, "We just want your side of the story," or "Help us clear your name." It sounds harmless, but remember, the goal of an interrogation is to collect statements that can be used as evidence. If you refuse to talk, the police might act frustrated, threaten to make it worse, or even say you'll look guilty in court. But none of that is true. They cannot legally punish you for remaining silent. If they arrest you, they must read your Miranda rights, which include the famous line, "You have the right to remain silent." Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. That's not a suggestion, that's a warning. Once your Miranda rights are read, every word becomes evidence. If you continue to speak after that, it's considered a voluntary statement. So if you ever hear those words, your safest response is, "I want a lawyer." Now, let us clear a common myth. Refusing to talk doesn't make you look guilty in court. Prosecutors cannot legally argue that your silence equals guilt. In fact, courts respect people who assert their constitutional rights properly. However, your silence must be clear. Just staying quiet without saying the words I am invoking my right to remain silent can sometimes create confusion, so be firm.com/unclear. If the police continue questioning, simply repeat, "I wish to remain silent." That's it. No need to argue or explain. The key is confidence and control. You have rights, but you must know how to use them. Here's another thing most people don't realize. If you're only a witness and not a suspect, you still have rights. Police might say, "You're not in trouble. We just need a statement." But even witnesses can accidentally say something that turns them into suspects. It happens all the time. So even as a witness, it's smart to speak only through a lawyer. This doesn't mean you're hiding something, it means you understand the system. Remember, the police are not your lawyer. Their loyalty is to the law, not to you. So what really happens if you refuse to talk? In most cases, nothing bad, pallies. Police may be irritated, but they cannot punish you for using your rights. If you're being detained, they can still run your ID, check for warrants, and either let you go or arrest you if there's enough evidence. But if they don't have evidence, your silence prevents them from creating one through your words. That's the power of knowing your rights. However, refusing to cooperate aggressively, yelling, walking away during questioning, or resisting physically can lead to charges like obstruction or resisting arrest. So the golden rule is, be silent, be calm, be respectful. You're protecting yourself, not fighting them. Finally, remember this. The right to remain silent is one of the most powerful protections you have in the American justice system. It exists to protect the innocent, not just the guilty. Using it wisely doesn't make you suspicious, it makes you smart. In the United States, justice begins when you understand your rights and use them with confidence. So next time you're in a situation where a police officer starts asking questions, think before you speak. Because your silence might be the only thing standing between freedom and a mistake that changes your life forever. This is LawCrest USA, where we turn complicated law into simple truth. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real legal awareness videos that could one day protect your rights.